work of this season sharpens tonight. With this service of Slichot, our focus becomes even sharper. We do what's so hard to do all year long, which is to really spend time of deep introspection, really deep thought about our lives, where we are, where we want to be, how we best serve the Holy One in the universe by extending holiness ourselves. And this service, you are privileged to be here tonight in the sanctuary or with us on live streaming, to be part of a journey, a process we're going on together. We are individuals, and as such, in some deep way, we are, of course, alone in the world. But we are part of a community, maybe perhaps even better to say communities. This one community of CBST is one community in which each of you now lands, but there are other communities in which we live. But Slichot is this beginning of the process. It's not the beginning, of course, because the beginning of Rosh Chodesh Elul, we start that journey. But this is the intensification, the next concentric circle, getting closer and closer and closer. And it's deep in Jewish tradition that one cannot do hard work just by diving into the deep end unprepared. One has to build up the muscles and develop the ability to expand ourselves. We have all different ways in the cycle of our Jewish year in which we prepare for something. And this is the spiritual preparation that's necessary to really encounter Yom Kippur with our hearts as fully open as it's possible, with our souls as soft and prepared, with our bodies ready to accept the journey of this season. So wherever you are so far this year, see yourself now as at the starting line. And how lucky you are to be here tonight, again on live stream or here in the sanctuary. And as I say every year, because it feels so deeply true, we are the bookend. This is really the first of the Days of Awe services. And there's a bookend with Ne'ilah at the end of Yom Kippur when we will again be in darkness. And we start with this intimate group of those of us here tonight, and we will watch as the congregation ebbs and flows and grows larger and goes smaller. But those of us who are here tonight become in some ways the spine or the anchor for the whole community. And so you have a sacred job if you're here with us tonight. You are helping to carry everyone through this season. And the best way we can do it is to be authentically and deeply present. To be exactly who we are, with all of our blessings and all of our curses, with all of the things we have figured out in life and with all of the things we have yet to figure out, with all of the things of which we are so deeply proud of what we've accomplished in our relationships, in our work, maybe in our creativity, and all the ways we feel deep disappointment in our lives. All of that has to be a part of the equation of this service and of this season. Don't leave anything outside the door. Every piece of the broken you and every piece of the complete you is necessary, is required for all of us to be here. So this service, we do it in this darkness, and it's typically done at midnight to try and awaken us to be present in a way that somehow in the sharp light of Shachrit or the afternoon or the visible light that allows us to see with our eyes, sometimes we're not able to see with our souls as much. Sometimes when we see each other so well, we're a little bit more aware of being seen or looked at. So tonight, like with Ne'ilah, we're asking you to put aside the books. In fact, we're not even letting you have any. So there'll be times tonight where you won't know the words. You won't know what's going on exactly. You'll think everybody else knows exactly what's happening, but nobody else does. But tonight is about letting go a little bit. Letting go of expectations. Not worrying about whether you're reading the Hebrew or understanding the Hebrew. Not worrying about whether you know exactly what's happening in the service. Tonight is about being fully present and starting on this journey of encountering the Holy One, of being present and being open, of being accessible and being vulnerable, and knowing that exactly who you are tonight is precisely the person we and God need you to be. And at the same time, we and God know you can even be more fully who you are. That is the fundamental paradox of this season. God completely loves you exactly as you are and knows you can become even more of who you are. If that is hard to believe, think about how you feel about a friend of yours whom you love very much. And you, when you look at your friend, you know everything about them. You know them in their wholeness and in their brokenness. And you love them for who they are. And you also know they can do even more. They can achieve more in their lives. They can cross bridges they haven't yet been able to. They can solve obstacles that have slowed them down. Imagine that compassion you have for someone in your life you care deeply about, a close friend. That's exactly how God feels about each of us. Not cruelly judgmental, but loving and supportive. And if the word or the concept of God is not comfortable for you, think about it as the universe. The power in the universe that makes for the trees and the birds. That power loves you and wants you to become even more of who you are to be. I read a poem by Mary Oliver as a setting, I think, for this season. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And that is the question of this season. What is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So tonight's service, for those who have never been here before or don't know much about a slichot service, it's unlike any other Jewish service. There's no Shema, there's no Baruch Hu, there's no Amidah. None of the elements that we talk about as being central to every Jewish service. There's no mourner's Kaddish. We don't do the things that we we know to be the structure. The Slichot service, traditionally done by Ashkenazim, starting on the Saturday nights before Rosh Hashanah, and Sephardim start with Slichot all the month of Elul. Ashkenazim do it with 4 days between between Saturday night and Rosh Hashanah, and if there aren't 4 days or 3 days, depending on how you count them, then you do it the week before. That's why we're doing it 8 days, I guess, or 9 days before Rosh Hashanah actually begins this year. The traditional Slichot service is a compilation of biblical psukim, verses, and piyutim and pismonim, different poems and poetry from mostly the Middle Ages, written by some of our most famous rabbis and composers and writers. And it features the Shalosh Esrei Midot, the 13 attributes of God, the 13 compassionate attributes, and those form the central part of a traditional Slichot service, and so too they do for ours at CBST. It also has elements from the High Holiday services themselves, and so tonight you'll hear for the first time some of the most moving and profound prayers in all of Jewish liturgy. I always get so excited that we get to experience them tonight in this intimate setting, and we'll then have them in our ears as we go forward into Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah, of course, in the biblical setting means something totally different than it does for us today. We call it, from the rabbinic tradition, Hayom Harat Olam. Today is the birthday of the world. It's about the creation itself. That's not exactly true for the biblical Rosh Hashanah, but we understand it now as this tradition in our people that we celebrate creation itself. In fact, the Midrash tells us that the 25th of Elul was the first day of creation. So that means Rosh Hashanah was the 6th day of creation when human beings were created, according to the Midrash. But what would it mean if we really turned our souls, our minds, our thoughts to celebrating the creation of the world? It doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not. All of us celebrate the creation of the world in which we find ourselves. When we celebrate the creation of the world, we ask then, what is our place in this world? Why was I created? Why were you created? Why were you created? Why were you created? We are created from something. What is the purpose of our creation? And so tonight we begin this journey together, and I'm so honored to be doing it with all of you and leading with Joyce, who will be, of course, on the piano and has planned the service so beautifully, with Larry Kay, our longtime lay chazan, and with Cantor Sam Rosen in the first time as cantor. And of course, the other thing that's so special tonight is that we're here together for the first time since 2019. Last year, we were lucky that we could be in the room, and we led from the room here, but all of you were behind the screen. So this tonight feels so deeply moving to have people in the sanctuary, and we have now learned how to do it with communities in sacred space and in sacred space. So we begin with Havdalah to end Shabbat before we can dive into Slichot. So the Havdalah service we will do together, and those of you on Zoom, if you have your Havdalah set as well, we'll do Havdalah from here.
ישועתי, הבטח ולא אפחד. כי עוזי וזמרניה, אדוני, ויהי לי לישועה. ושאבתם מים בששון ממעייני הישועה. ושאבתם מים בששון ממעייני הישועה. לאדוני הישועה, על עמך ברכתך סלע. אדוני צבאות עמנו, משקף לנו אלוהי יעקב סלע. אדוני צבאות, אשרי אדם בוטח בך. אדוני הושיע, המלך יעננו ביום גורנו. ליהודים הייתה אור ושמחה וששון ויקר, כן תהיה לנו כל ישועות אשא, ובשם אדוני אקרא. Baruch חטאותינו ימחו, שרינו וכספנו ירבה כחו, וככוכבים בלילה, אליהו הנביא, אליהו התשביע, אליהו, אליהו הבלעדי, במהרה בימינו יבוא אלינו, עם משיח בן דוד, עם משיח בן דוד, מרים המרים, עוז וזמרה בידה, מרים תרקוד איתנו, לתקן זמרת עולם, מרים תרקוד איתנו, לתקן את העולם. במהרה בימינו יתביאנו אל מי הישועה, אל מי הישועה. שבוע טוב, 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 שבוע טוב. A good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase.
Please remain standing if you are able to. There are many different ways that we know this season of the days of awe have arrived. One of them is that we start to hear the sounds of the melodies, which are entirely different than Shabbat or Yom Tov or weekday melodies. We start saying the Psalm 27 every day. And the other thing is that we change the clothing that the Torahs wear, and we change the parochet, which is the curtain in the ark, and the color of the days of awe is the color white. Not because it's a value of white versus black or darkness, but because in Judaism white is the color of death. It's the color to remind us that we are mortal. White in Judaism is the color in which of the shrouds in which we will all one day be buried. So part of the power of these days of awe is the consciousness of our mortality. We're taught in all different ways that we're supposed to live each day as if it were the last. Imagine how we would behave if we could absorb that teaching. It's almost impossible to. But imagine how we would live if we could absorb it. It is what the rabbis tell us. So on Yom Kippur, we dress literally in white. The kittel is to remind us of the shroud. And this whole days of awe, the colors of the synagogue, of the Torahs themselves change from the colors of the year to the colors of these days of awe. So now we will, and please, if you can remain standing, if you can't, don't hesitate to sit. We'll now ceremonially change. The parochet has already been changed. Thank you, Jorge and Robert and Misha and everybody who did that. And now we're going to change the mantles on each of our 5 Sifrei Torah. So I'd like to invite Sabrina Farber, our president, and Rabbi Werber, and Randy Weingarten, and Adam, and any members of the board who are here tonight to help us as we change the mantles. And then we will replace the Torahs in the ark so that we can begin the service. So let's start with the Torahs down there. And now, as we see the Torahs through this next period, through Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, you see them dressed in their white. You've been here for this very moving moment. Remain standing for Hatsey Kadesh as we begin the Slichot service. The very special melody.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה אמן ביעלמה דיברך יראותי וימליך מלכותי ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמיה ויאמרו
Please be seated. Throughout the days of awe, the Kaddish has very, very special melodies that Joyce has made sure we at CBST honor and respect and raise up. It means there are a lot of different settings for it, so it's not in a tradition, as we do these different melodies, each one will, when you hear the melody, you'll know which service you're at. So pay attention. And through Yom Kippur, there are how many different melodies?
I was just going to say, the next time you're going to hear this melody will be Musaf, right after the communion prayer. That's the next time.
So it's pretty special. It's just, I get chills, literally chills, when I hear it. And a prayer that often during regular davening we kind of rush through. You know, we don't really have much of a melody for it in some ways. In our regular davening, it's kind of it really is a comma in the service or a semicolon. It functions as a punctuation point in many ways. But on the days of awe, it has these magnificent settings that are some of the greatest compositions and settings in Jewish liturgy. One of the themes of the Days of Awe, which are found in this next piyut of B'motzei Menucha, is the sense that we feel that we need to look to our ancestors for zechut, for merit, for help to do the work of these Days of Awe. And so it's a profound teaching that when you feel minuscule, when you feel not capable of doing the work in our lives, and for sure during these Days of Awe, of really facing the hard work of looking deep inside, one of the themes of Yontif is that we ask for help from those who came before us. Sometimes we name them, so you'll see it throughout the liturgy. We'll call upon, remember what Isaac did, remember what Abraham did, remember what Sarah did. Please, God, give us merit, give us a little rachmanas, because we might not deserve it, but think about our ancestors. And you might read that and feel alienated from it, because who is Isaac to you? Who is Abraham to you, really? But you could be a little bit more creative about it, really, can't you? Think about it as a metaphor. When you hear those kinds of liturgical references, take it seriously. Who in your past, not only your individual family, but who do you ask God or the universe to give you some credit for if you don't feel like you deserve credit? Do you have a relative? Is there an ancestor, whether it's family lineage or in the world, that you would say, please God, or please universe, look at what that person did. I benefited from them. Maybe they were my second grade teacher. Maybe it was an aunt who encouraged me. Maybe it was a great hero from the world from whom I learn a lot, or a writer who is no longer alive. Or the ancestor that made the journey to this country, that suffered the ways that they suffered in order to have us live in this country. Or maybe we go back even further. And it's a moment every time in Jewish prayer when we talk about the avot or the imahot or our ancestors, it's an opportunity to do the very anti-American thing, which is to recognize you did not pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You are here because you stand on the shoulders of people who came before you. It's a moment to give gratitude for those who came before, those you know and those you don't know. To say the zechut of those who didn't survive the journey or were slaughtered by Khmelnytsky or by the Crusades or by the Nazis. This is a moment to express gratitude and to be aware that we inherit from our ancestors tremendous gifts. And it's a moment to create space in our lives to appreciate it. B'motzei Menucha, as this last Shabbat of the year ends, of course, because I described to you, we're not technically in the last Shabbat of the year. It's usually sung on the last Shabbat of the year. But remember Yitzchak, bound as an offering. And this is exactly what this piyut is doing. Saying to God, remember Yitzchak, what happened to Yitzchak? Surely I deserve some mercy because of Yitzchak. Seek out those who search for you. As anxious as a mother is as trembling as wrongdoers called to account. Hear our song, accept our prayers. Lishmoa el harina vi el hatfila. That's the refrain. We can all say that when we come to it. Lishmoa el harina vi el hatfila. I'll remind it to you. Hear our song, accept our prayers. Lishmoa el harina vi el hatfila.
Et yemin oz orro, et yemin oz orro, lasot chayim, mitzanem lekar, v'nishchat roi. Genona gizo bizakom kem de meod lai lishmo
el harina el hatfila. Accept our prayers. Lishmoa el harina. Everybody. El hatfila. One of the traditions we have at CBST on this Slichot service, which I'm so excited because we haven't been able to do this for 2 years, is that we light candles. And of course, at Bethune Street, when we did it, we were able to use real candles. Here, we can't use real candles, but we have these beautiful LED flickering little flames. And remember what I discussed last night, how powerful. When you turn off the electricity a little bit, you start to appreciate the power of a small little flame. So as we take this time to contemplate and reflect, Joyce will play music, and as you feel inspired, come forward to light one of the candles on the table and think about what it is that you're hoping for in this year to come. And you turn it over, and there's a little thing to turn it on. So each think about what it is that you need a flame for in your life, that you need a little extra light, that you need a little extra spark. And we'll just take this time, and if you choose not to come forward and you just want to think that, that's fine too. There's no pressure. But this is a moment to think about, in this coming year, what do you need that extra flame for? What do you need to help in your life? Hanashamalach. Our soul is yours. Look at these lights. One individual light does its small thing, but together look at how much light we create. Our soul is yours. My body is yours. Treat us as your honor dictates. With trust we come before you. Treat us well. We know you are merciful and loving. Be merciful and loving. Forgive us, though our wrongs are great. Hanashamalach. architecture of this Slichot service and all of the Slichot services which are repeated through Yontiv, or that the first many piyutim, pizmonim, and tehillim that we recite are all about softening us up and softening God up. Kind of like reminding God over and over again, you created us, have a little rachmanis, don't be so harsh on us. Listen, you're responsible too, you know? So before we could get to the point of saying the chataim, the Ashamu, and the achet, the first part is full of these reminders that are so poignant and so full of longing, reminding ourselves, first of all, that we're good, and reminding God that God's also responsible for all the broken parts too. It's as if, and not even as if, we are doing this because in order to get to the place of really taking responsibilities for the ways we have missed the mark, the ways we've screwed up, the things we've done wrong, we have to keep reminding ourselves of the goodness that is at our deepest intention, the possibilities of who we are. Those two little peteks that are supposed to be in each of our pockets. In one it says, for you the world was created. You are the center of the universe. You're a decent, wonderful, good person. And the other petek, the other pocket, it says, from dust we come and to dust you go. We're not here for long. And so we have each of these, and some of us need a little bit more of the boost than others. Some people don't need to be reminded to take stock of all the things we've done wrong. And some of us need this season to boost ourselves up and to remind ourselves we're all created in God's image. We're part of this creation of the world, and we are good and decent and trying the best we can. God, give us a break. And we need to be able to say, okay, maybe there's a few things we could do a little bit better. This isn't about beating ourselves up to be self-flagellating and self-critical. It's about loving ourselves enough and believing in the love that surrounds us that we can do a few things a little bit better. That's not to tear ourselves down. That's to appreciate. We can keep growing. We can keep becoming exactly what and who we were born to be. We're all facing so many obstacles. We all come from families that have created so many issues for us. We carry in our emotional baggage so many cement blocks. This is about letting go a little bit of the heaviness of things and saying, God, you're on my side. I can let go a little bit of how heavy some of these pieces of luggage are. Elecha, Esa Einai, all of these Tehillim that we recite tonight are about reminding us we're not alone. We can let the burdens go a little bit. We can say, help. I need some help. So throughout Slichot and throughout our tradition, we say these Tehillim, and some of you have studied a lot of them with me, and you know how meaningful they are to me. Esa Einai, I look up. My eyes look up to the hills. Me'ayin yavo ezri. From where will my help come? This is somebody who is desperate. This is somebody who feels like the luggage, the emotional baggage is just too much. I'm down in the pits. I'm down in the valley, and I'm looking up and I'm saying, Esa Einai. Let me look up. Let my eyes look up. If you're looking up, it means you're down in the pits. And you say, Me'ayin yavo ezri. It is the deepest plea for help. And it's saying, I don't know where my help is going to come from. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this particular pit I'm in. I've been in it so long. The patterns are so deep. The history is so suffocating. How am I going to get out of this? Me'ayin yavo ezri. This is help. Please, God, help. Ezri, where does my help come from? Ultimately, it's going to come from the one who makes the heavens and the earth, who's connected to the Mary Oliver poem I read at the beginning, The Little Grasshopper. The help is going to come from the power in the universe that believes in you, that knows what you're capable of, that knows who you are and knows the journey and the obstacles and the struggles you've had. Esa Enai. Sing this with us, this psalm that reminds us that when we're in this pit, our job is to look up. That's the hard part. That's where you start. You look up from the pit and you realize there are hills up there, and the pit isn't the only reality. That's the first step. Me'ayin yavo Ezri. Where is that help going to come from? I don't know. The first thing is to look up. Ezri, my help will come from the one who makes the heavens and the earth. Sing this psalm with us, and I'll help you with the words as we do it. Esa Enai, my eyes, I lift my eyes up. El Harim. Esa Enai. Where will my help come from? Esa Enai, I look up to the hills. El Harim. Me'ayin yavo. Yavo Ezri, where is my help going to come from? Ezri, Me'im Adonai, my help will come from the Holy One. Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz, the one who makes the heavens and the earth, who creates the beauty of the wild. Ezri, Me'im Adonai, Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz. Let's sing this again. Now you know the words. Let's really try to understand. Let's take it in. Esa Enai. Everybody. Esa Enai. El Harim. Me'ayin yavo Ezri. Yavo Ezri. Where is it coming from? Esa Enai. El Harim. Me'ayin yavo. Yavo Ezri. Ezri, my help. Me'im Adonai, from the one who created me. Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz, from the mountains and the oceans and the lakes and the icebergs. Ezri, my help, my strength. Me'im, from the one who has created me. Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz. Slichot teaches us that we deserve the help. Each of us is created in the image of God, and we deserve the love and the help of the one who has created the heavens and the earth. And we tell the story over and over again of the historical moments and the natural moments that have created this people of ours and this moment in which we find ourselves. The big question, of course, that we are confronting is how do we, when living in times of the kind of evil in which we find ourselves, the impending fascism in which we are experiencing worldwide, the authoritarianism, which is like a tsunami in our universe, the hate, the lies, the bigotry, the hatred of Jews, the hatred of Muslims, the hatred of LGBTQ, the cruelty that we hear from leadership here in this country and around the world. How do we believe in the possibility or think it's even important for us to continue to improve ourselves, to confess chataim for the little things that we do, which can't even be put in the same plane as some of the horrible things going on in the world? How can we imagine that this is a justified activity? Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun. God is forgiving and compassionate. If we lose sight of what our values are, if we don't remember who and what we are, just because we are not as bad as the evil that is around us, then we lose sight that we are created in God's image. And believing in the possibility that we can do the work on ourselves, no matter what is happening in the world, is an act of such deep faith and such great beauty. It's like an artist creating great art in the middle of ugliness of the world in which we live. We are creating the little sparks, the little flames of light. And we each need to inspire the flame in each other. I need you to help me remember that my light matters. You need me to help remind you. You need each other. We all need each other to keep these little lights going and not to be defined by the waves of hatred that the world is experiencing. Moses went up the mountain, came down the mountain, shattered the tablets, the Aseret HaDibrot, went back up the mountain. On the 1st of Elul, we're taught, went up for 40 days, leaving the people behind after the golden calf and after the episode of breaking the first set of tablets. And guess what? There are second chances. One can be renewed. There can be another chance. Moses went up on the first day of the month of Elul, Rosh Chodesh Elul, and 40 days later came down with the second set of tablets. And what's 40 days after the first day of the month of Elul? Is the 10th day of the month of Tishrei, which is the next month, which is, of course, Yom Kippur. So Yom Kippur itself is about it believing in second chances. That's not the first shiny set of tablets. This is the second set, after all the mistakes have been made, after all the things have really screwed up, after the plans that you imagined were going to be right don't work out. How do we get rid of our expectations of what we thought our lives would look like so that we actually make room for the lives we actually have? How do we stop regretting that our life doesn't look like we wanted it to be so that we could actually live the life we have? That's what the second set of tablets is all about. And they are Yom Kippur, the moment of deepest reflection and forgiveness. It is a time of love and forgiveness. Yom Kippur is not a sad day it's not Tisha B'Av. We fast, it's a serious day. There's seriousness to it, but there's a lot of joy in Yom Kippur. That's an amazing thing, right? It's joy because it's a second chance. It's the do-over. It's the opportunity to try and do it better this time. And at the center of that are these words from the story itself reminding us of God's love and forgiveness. Can you remember that you deserve compassion, that you deserve forgiveness, that you deserve mercy? That's what, whenever you hear this, the Shalosh Esrei Midot, the 13 attributes, what you have to be saying to yourself is, oh yeah, it's not just that these attributes exist out there. The point is, you deserve compassion. You deserve mercy. You deserve forgiveness. Imagine the kind of joy you would feel if you believed what I just said. How many people in this room feel that, right? Don't raise your hand. I know most of you don't. Imagine if you really, and that's what this journey is about. That's why Yom Kippur has joy to it. And we get there by being honest about who we are, what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and we are strengthened to be able to ask for forgiveness in the places we need to do that, because there's joy in knowing that we deserve to be forgiven. We have to do some work involved. It's not that it comes without work. Everything. Here's the headline, everybody. Everything worthwhile is hard work. I hate to be the messenger, but it's worth it. So please stand for what I think is our first recitation, right, of this season. And I'm going to ask everybody, we say these attributes, which are all about compassion, forgiveness, and mercy. And as we recite it, think, I deserve compassion, forgiveness, and mercy. We're going to start very softly with the first recitation, a little bit louder with the second, and full voice, as loud and from as deep at our diaphragm level that we can, not our throat, not our face, but from our diaphragms, that third recitation. And try and see if you can even get to a place where you might even sort of believe me. Or maybe you'll just pretend for this time, and we'll see where we are as we go on. The Shalosh Esrei Midot.
Rav Chesed ve'emet
Please be seated. Elecha, Elecha, to you, Ekra, I call out. V'el Adonai et Hanan, to you I plead for mercy. Shema Adonai, listen to me, hear me, v'choneni, answer me, please, 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 please answer me. Heyeh ozerli, be my help. Elecha, Psalm 30. Adonai ekra, v'el Adonai et Hanan, Elecha, Adonai ekra, v'el Adonai et Hanan, Shema Adonai, listen to me, v'choneni, be gracious to me. Adonai heyeh ozerli, help me, be my help. Shema Adonai, listen to me. V'choneni, be gracious to me. Adonai heyeh ozerli, be my help. Everybody, Elecha, Adonai ekra, v'el Adonai et Hanan. Elecha, to you I call out. Adonai ekra, v'el Adonai et Hanan. Shema Adonai, listen God. V'choneni, heyeh, Adonai heyeh, ozerli, be my help. Shema Adonai, listen. V'choneni, be merciful, I need your mercy. Adonai heyeh ozerli, help me, help me. Asking for help is a big part of this journey. From yourself, from your friends, and from God. We continue with this part of reminding God, the one who is our creator, that remember, you are the one of forgiveness. You examine our heart. You reveal the depths and you speak of justice. Adon haslichot, bochen levavot.
Ole
done the work to soften ourselves, I hope, a little bit, and to soften God up a little bit, we arrive at the first recitation of the Ashamu of the season, of the beginning to say out loud the things we've done wrong this year. And it's always in plural because while we know each of us has not done every single one of these things, we recognize that we live in community and in a world in which what one person does affects us all. So it's all said in the plural on behalf of all of us. So please stand if you're able. And we take our right hand and hold it over our heart, over the left part of our chest, as we recite the Ashamu. Be seated. And in CBST tradition, we now write our own Chataim. We take this moment during the Slichot service, and Michael and Sharon and Lori will be handing out the sheets. For those of you for whom this might be your first time, We've divided up all of the different Chata'im are in 4 different categories traditionally, and you're receiving a sheet that is in the plural. And the first category is for Chata'im we have committed against ourselves, and then it says we have, again echoing the language of plural from the traditional Chata'im. For Chata'im we have committed against the world or the environment or nature, we have. For Chata'im we have committed against other people. And for Chata'im, we have committed against our people, Judaism, or God. And Chata'im are sometimes translated as sins in English, but sin is a very Christian word, and I'm not crazy about it as a word. It's really, and in Hebrew, it's the same word of shooting a bow and arrow and missing the mark is a chet. So the ways we've missed the mark this year in these 4 categories, it's anonymous. Don't sign your name. And then on Yom Kippur, we will read from these as part of our communal Chata'im. If you haven't received any yet, raise your hand. People are going around distributing them, and they're with writing utensils. And we take a moment to do this quietly. We need it up here too. And for those online, there should be a form being given to you as well. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy and Lori and Sharon are walking around with baskets. If you're done, fold it up and put it in a basket, so we'll collect. For all these, God of forgiveness, pardon us, forgive us, forgive us. The Al Kulam. Don't hide your face from me. I'm asking for your help. I call to you, please hear my prayers, O God, if you would answer me as I have called to you. Heal me now. Don't hide your face from me. You hear some of the themes of these Tehillim, the Piyutim and Pizmonim that we recite tonight. Don't hide from me. I'm asking for your help. Psalm 27.
Don't hide your face from me. I'm asking for your help. I call to you, please hear my prayers, O God.
there anybody who's here for their first Slichot service at CBST? Do we have any people for whom this is your first service? I'd like to invite those of you, Misha, Adam, who's in the back. I can't see it so dark. Anybody, it's your first Slichot service. Would you please open the ark as we all stand for Shema Kolenu? So come stand up here. Watch out for all the different candles. Yep, it's a little bit of a slalom. Thank you so much. That was beautifully done. Thank you. And thank you all for being here for the first time for Slichot. Please be seated. As the hour is late, we're a little tired. Our souls hopefully are a little softened up. Everybody feel a little softer? Feel a little bit more open? Feel a little bit more vulnerable, maybe even a little bit more ready? Shalosh Esrei Midot are repeated, the 13 attributes. You deserve to be forgiven. You deserve mercy. You deserve compassion. All right, I want everybody to say this after me. I deserve to be forgiven. Say that.
I deserve to be forgiven.
I deserve mercy.
I deserve mercy.
I deserve compassion.
I deserve compassion.
Again, we're going to start softly the first time, a little bit louder, and then B'kol Ram with our full voice and diaphragm. we come close to concluding Slichot, and we do this with Avinu Malkeinu for the first time of this season, where we've gone through this journey of tonight, of warming up, of reminding us where we're from and who we come from and our ancestors and the creator of the universe and what it's like to be in the pit looking up for the heavens, to a place where we can start to admit things that we've done wrong and start to really be able to do that internal work. And now again, we acknowledge we are small, but we are powerful because we are part of something bigger. The part of Rosh Hashanah, which is so focused on Malchiyot, on the sovereignty, is to remind us that we might be small and we might feel powerless, but we're not, because we're connected to something so much bigger. Think about the feeling you have when you climb or when you hike in a forest and you feel that you're a small part of this magnificent forest, or you look at an ocean, you're at the sea. We might be small, but we feel so much power and so much strength from the sea and what it says to us. So that's what this is about. When we say Avinu Malkeinu, we're reminding ourselves that we are small, but there is great strength in being part of something bigger than us. It doesn't diminish us. It actually enlarges us, expands us, gives us strength. So I'd like to ask everybody, as we come to the come close and closer to the close, to come forward. I'd like to ask Sabrina, our president, and Harold, our vice president, to open the ark, and Rabbi Werber and Adam to come join us for the opening of the ark for Avinu Malkeinu, and everybody to leave your seats. It's like you got to get lech lecha. Leave what's familiar. Come closer. Watch out. Everybody come closer and surround stand among the sparkling lights on the floor and on the table. Come closer to the Torahs, to the ark, to our voices. So everybody come forward. You can come in here, come and find your way. Just be careful of all the different little lights, but you won't get burned. That's the good news. That's the advantage, right? Come forward. Come, you can fill in this area. I want everybody forward so you can see the Torahs. Come a little closer to the Torahs. Everybody can see. Come on over. Okay, are we all in? Great. Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, Ve'al Ol Aleinu, V'tapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, וחרב ורעב מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, קל לכל צר ומעשה.
Take this time with us. We're going to stay right in this position with the ark open as we think about the year which has passed, the journey we've taken this past year, those who are not with us who were with us at this time last year, the places we've gone, the people we've been, as we move toward this new year. What will we take from this year? What do we want to leave? Who do we want to be in this next year? One thing I ask, only one thing, every day to experience the sacred in the world, to know that I am part of God's creation. One thing I ask, Achat Shalti. Psalm 27 stays with us through the whole journey, from the beginning of Elul to Hoshana Rabbah. One thing I ask, to be aware of my one precious life. Please, God, be with me on this journey. Help me ask for forgiveness from those I need to ask for. Help me give forgiveness to those who need to be forgiven. Help me to move on to my better life, to my better person. Help me not to be afraid of the hard work and not to be afraid to embrace joy. Help me to love deeply and help me to live in your presence every single day. Help me to be worthy of those who came before me. Help me to lay a foundation for those who will come after me. Help me to be a good student. Help me to be a good teacher. One thing I ask, Achat Shalti.
Achat Shalti me'ek Adonai otcha akesh. Achat Shalti me'ek Adonai otcha
Please stay quietly in the sanctuary as long as you want and leave when you're ready to leave. Shana Tova Umutuka. Shana Tova Tikatevu. May you have a sweet and a healthy, a Zisin Gut Yor, a sweet new year. Happy New Year. Shana Tova.